Hey, welcome to the 2025 Thanksgiving slash Black Friday Pampered Chef party. I love doing it this time of year for a lot of reasons. And I enjoyed looking at all your names when I was trying to do those invites. Um, Facebook doesn't make it easy to do the invites, but I'm looking forward to spending some time with y'all, even though it's just virtual time. So, um, so I have a I want to talk about Nicole, who's the Pampered Chef I'm using this time, Pampered Chef consultant. And she had done a party from somebody in Linden, Alabama. And we kind of connected and found out that she also went to Delta State and she started right after I left. So we missed each other. But she's been doing about 7 years and she's very passionate about it. And I think she's going to run a really good party for us. So I'm excited about it. So I have a goal for this party because I really, really, really want the air fryer oven, and it's a very, very cool thing. So being a hostess allows me to get this because um, I can I get free products with depending on the sales, but um, if I have at least $200 of sales, I get one item for 60% off. And then if I have 650, I get two items for 60% off. So that brings the down. So even if I don't have a lot of sales, then it brings down the price where it's very, very much more affordable. So anyway, so let me talk to you about this thing. This is really cool. It's got good reviews on the Pampered Chef website. I think it's got 5 stars or close to it. So it's got two sections. It's got two doors, and the top, broils and has a toast. It toasts. It's a toaster oven is what it basically is, and the bottom is the air fryer and convection oven that you can do all kinds of things with. So they run independently of each other. They can have different temperatures, different settings, and there's even a sync button where you can put everything in and it will sync it so they get done at the same time, which I'm not sure how that all works, but that seems like a cool thing, especially at Thanksgiving time. So, and the top is you can bake in there too. It's just you don't want anything that rises a lot, but you can do that in the bottom. Um, and so you can roast in it, broil, bake, toast, um, air fry, reheat. It's a reheat button. It has a convection oven in it as well, and you can dehydrate in that, and that's what we're going to talk about with the recipe for today. Um, and it also has a button just to set to preheat your cooking stone, your Pampered Chef cooking stone in there. And there's a list on the FAQs on the website of all the different Pampered Chef products that will fit in there. And it's a really good size. It's like it'll hold a 6 pound chicken, a 12-inch pizza, or 2 pounds of chicken tenders. So it's a really good size oven. Um, so I'm looking forward to replacing the one that I have. Um, it doesn't toast very well, and the labels started rubbing off on anyway. It's a name brand, but um, it's just run its course. So I'm looking forward to this new fancy thing. If if it works out. If it doesn't, then it's okay. So what I'm going to recipe I'll give you today is yogurt. Is make your own yogurt, and it's really important to add more probiotics to your life, and you really want to make them more than buying them, because if you buy them in the store, they'll have additives or they have extra sugars and things like that, and you just can't really always control it. And if you get something that's cleaner, then a lot of times it's a lot more expensive. I mean, making homemade yogurt is darn cheap. I mean, and it's really cheap because if you got a gallon of milk that's about to expire, like any part of that amount, you can just, make some yogurt with the rest of it and it doesn't go to waste. I'm a food preservation junkie, and, I've got all these techniques and everything that I use um, to make sure that I use every amount of food. I think it's genetic memory from my Appalachian um, grandparents, and well, really everybody in my family history came from Appalachia. But my grandparents in Walker County, Alabama, grew up like a Foxfire book, and my mom grew up that way, as you know. So I'm hillbilly on my mama's side and redneck on my daddy's side. That's what I say a lot of times. So anyway, but um, so making yogurt is really simple. It doesn't take a lot of work. It's just timing things. So what you're going to do is you got to get the milk um, to 180 degrees, and that makes it where the proteins can break. It can transform in some way that makes it thicker. Also, get rid of any bacteria that might be fighting with the bacteria in your culture. And then so you get to 180, but then you let it cool down to 110. It can be between 105 and 110. I mean 115, but 110 is like your sweet spot. Um, and so once you get it to 110, you need to find some way to keep it at 110 for hours, for quite a few hours, up to a day. And so there's a lot of ways to do that. Historically, people would just, you know, cover it with something and insulate it. You can put it in a cooler. They used to have a thing called they call it a hay box or thermal cooking, and they would just put things heat retention cooking, and so you basically, even though this isn't really cooking, but you put it in something that's going to keep it at that temperature. So modern day people do it with a cooler and a bunch of blankets. Um, but as far as the appliances go, of course you can buy yogurt makers, but then you have another appliance, and a lot of times they come with their own jars, and so you have a set of jars and a set of lids that only go with that, which is annoying to me. That's why I have mason jars everywhere, because I want the same lids in the jars. I don't want to have to be matching lids to things. And it's another appliance to store, but there might be some benefits to have them, for you. But that's for me. That's why I don't have one. And then you can, I've been doing it in my Instant Pot, but then it kind of takes up time. If something else needs to be cooked, in the Instant Pot, it takes it up for half a day or longer, a third of a day, and and so and then the Instant Pot, when you set it to heat it up to 180, it doesn't always get it all the way up to 180, and you have to kind of check it before you set it to do the incubation part. So that's annoying. And I don't know how the Pampered Chef one does. It has a yogurt feature on the multi cooker, the newest one. It has a yogurt feature on it, so I'm not sure, because I don't have that one yet. When the Instant Pot dies, I will be getting one of those. Um, and then you can use a sous vide. I haven't done that before. And another thing you can use is a dehydrator. So because you have a dehydration feature on this air fryer oven, you can put the yogurt um, in like mason jars or something, and put them in there to incubate. You can also use a regular dehydrator if you have the kind that don't have that you have the kind where you can take the trays out. Ones with the stacking trays, obviously you can't do that. And so that's why I'm bringing this one up, because it can be done in the air fryer oven. Um, and so this is how you make it. Like I said, you bring it to 180 degrees, and then you let it cool to 110. If you're in a hurry, you can put it in an ice bath or sink of cold water to get it down faster. Um, and then you're going to add a starter, and you can go to the store and you just make sure you get a plain yogurt with active, it says on the label, active cultures. And so if it has active cultures in it, which I don't know if I've ever found one that didn't, you can just buy that, and you can use that for your starter. Now you can also buy like powdered starter that you can store, and it's powdered so it stays longer and makes it easy. But it costs money. And what I do is, if I can remember, is when I make a batch of yogurt, I put in the little Ziploc bags, the snack size bags. I put 2 to 3 tablespoons of starter into the little bags, and I mark it. And so I put the amount I need for 1 quart. And if you use more in there, it doesn't matter. So I'm not going to really make a pint of yogurt. I'll find something else to do with it. But if I were going to make a pint, I can put that amount of yogurt in there. It's not going to hurt it to have more. And so, and then I just have them in the freezer. And then when I get ready to make the yogurt, when I get ready to make the yogurt, okay, Gary's fixing to pass through. Come in. Oh, just come on through. I already said you were going to interrupt. Okay. All right. So where was I? So I pull out the frozen yogurt and I set it out to let it get close to room temperature. And while I'm getting started, you know, making, you know, making the yogurt. So, and anyway, when you get ready, so when it gets to 110, you're going to put the yogurt starter, you're going to put take the starter and you're going to take some of the milk out and put in a bowl and mix the starter in until it is smooth. Okay, you don't want any lumps or anything. It's too hard to in the whole batch to get those lumps out. So you're going to need to mix it up until it's smooth and you put it in there while it's 110. If it's too warm, you'll kill all your culture. You'll kill your bacteria and your yeast and all those things, your probiotics. So make sure you have it at 110. You take that amount, you mix it in there, and then once you got it incorporated really well into the whole milk and it's all smooth, then you are going to use whatever method that you're using to incubate it. And so, and you would set, on the air fryer oven, you would set it for 110 degrees, and then you let it sit there. So the amount of starter you need is about 2 to 3 tablespoons per quart, and like I said, it can be more, and it could even be less because, like I said, there's a great variety. But you're going to be safe 2 to 3 tablespoons per quart, and then you're going to let it, whatever method you've chosen, you're going to let it sit there for 6 to 24 hours. And the longer you let it sit, the more sour it's going to be because the lactose in the milk sugar is being eaten up by the probiotics in there. And so as it starts to eat more and more, it becomes more tangy, more tart. And so you can let it go longer, whatever. And you're going to have to do trial and error, to figure out, what works for you, for you. And you're dealing with something living, so there's going to be variations and whatever, but it's still pretty simple. It still comes out good. I've not really had a bad batch before of yogurt, So now, if you're doing raw milk, which I highly recommend, so if you raise it to 180, you're going to kill off some of those great benefits of drinking raw milk, like the enzymes and things like that, because that's pasteurization, So you can go ahead and make it the way I just told you, and it'll just be thinner yogurt. Because the proteins aren't going to break down. But if you want it thicker, you can add gelatin to it, and that will make a thicker yogurt. Plus, you get the benefits of the gelatin, collagen and gelatin. Gelatin is just collagen that's been cooked. It has pretty much the same benefits, and so it adds something to it along with the raw milk. And so I'm gonna put a link in where it's gonna have where it's going to have instructions from Sally Fallon from Nourishing Traditions book, Weston A. Price Foundation, on how to do the raw milk yogurt. And then I'm also going to, and I'll have a link for that for you to follow. And then I will also have a link for this recipe that I showed you or printed out. It'll be in there some way to get to it. All right, so if you want Greek yogurt, then you're going to just need to take that yogurt and strain it. And so you can just take a bowl with a strainer over it and put a tea towel or some cheesecloth over it. Not the cheesecloth at the grocery store and Walmart that's real loosely woven. You're gonna need a tight woven cheesecloth, which I bought mine on Amazon or somewhere, and But you can use the tea towel. I've seen people say they've used coffee filters, but I always make too much yogurt for that to be feasible. Um, but you're going to want to strain it. Just strain it to get to the thickness that you want. Sometimes I'll leave it out on the counter. Sometimes I'll put it in the fridge. If you leave it on the counter, it will continue to get more sour because the cultures are still actively eating. If you put it in the fridge, it slows down their eating, so kind of starts to go to sleep. And and then you strain it out. And then what you're left with is you got your yogurt and you got your whey. Now the whey has a lot of uses. Um, I sometimes make whey lemonade, where there's two ways to make it, where you just have all whey and put lemon juice and sweetener and water, or you put part water, part whey. Um, and I'll vary it depending on the carbs or how strong I want to deal with it. It's not the best lemonade, but it's really got a lot of probiotics in it. You can use it in the garden, particularly with acid-loving plants. I'm not a gardener. Gary is the gardener, so I'm not really sure exactly the best ways, except for like if you got hydrangeas that are pink and you want them blue, you put more acid with it. And blueberries need lots of acid, so the whey is good for those. But I think it's good for other things in there too. Some people feed it to their animals. They put it in recipes, particularly soups. Um, you can actually take it and make ricotta cheese with it. There's instructions on how to make ricotta cheese out of the whey. If you don't have a lot, then you can freeze it and save. And when you get enough up, then you can, thaw it out and make some ricotta cheese with it. Um, and I think this is just a theory, but I think if we pour our probiotic foods down the drain, so sometimes I'll take something if I'm throwing it out. I usually don't throw things out, but like I'll put it down the drain at night before going to bed, so it can like linger there, you know, maybe a little bit without, before somebody comes and turns the water on and flushes it down. And I kind of wonder if that helps, because they may still sell them. I hadn't seen them as much as enzymatic drain treatments and things like that. So that's just a theory. I don't know if it's true. Oh, and starter cultures. So you could use the whey to make starter cultures. So if you make cultured vegetables, um, or whatever, I've got kimchi right here. Was one of the things that I used, cultured vegetables. When I was on my gut healing journey, I started and it ended, didn't end, but it got severely waylaid. Last year, I was in the hospital in Demopolis for 2 weeks, with three three bags of antibiotics, different antibiotics, and an antifungal, another fourth bag of antifungal, um, just healing me but messing up my gut. So healing me and not healing me at the same time. And then this year, I stepped on a piece of glass and it got abscessed, and I lost a bone, got infection and stuff I didn't know because I got some neuropathy. Anyway, I was in the hospital on antibiotics, IV antibiotics for 7 weeks. And then I got out, and then about a month and a half later, infection returned, and I got antibiotics again, and I had 2 rounds of antibiotics with my teeth. So I've been on antibiotics, and so my gut has been taking a big hit, and the weight I lost when I first started on this journey came back. So I'm trying to get back on track, and so the just you know someone has said historically, that all disease comes from the gut, and I am I've been on this journey of healing my gut, healing my mitochondria, um, and other things to get the foundation of, you know, not the foundation of disease, but the foundation of wellness that will hopefully make diseases at least go away more. And I've just saw something about, gut healing with the joints and arthritis, and so I'm hoping that, I got severe arthritis in my back and my knees, that healing my gut is going to help relieve me of a lot of that pain. But that's still a journey that I'm on, and the recipes that I'll show you, if I'm able to make any more videos, will probably be on the lines of high protein, um, lower carb, just because I have to keep it on my blood sugar, and I'm not and then mitochondrial beneficial foods and gut healing foods. So it's hard for me because I can't stand on my feet because of arthritis, and I couldn't put weight on my foot at all for 2 months. And I still can't put a lot of weight on it because of the infections. And so, but I trudge on. So let's get to the last part of this. Let's see. All right. So the yogurt's good for a week or two in the fridge. It does eventually. Some things when you culture them, they make them last longer. Like you buy buttermilk at the store and it's cultured, and it's got a date on it, but it goes like so much farther past it. I remember my mom commenting about that. Oh, buttermilk lasts a long time, and it does because it's cultured. Um, but but with the yogurt, it's 1 to 2 weeks. That's my experience. A lot of times they'll tell you on these websites, oh yeah, that's good for a week or 4 or 5 days, but most of them will go longer than what they say. But yogurt has not been one that has been that way. But so, make it and eat it up. And as far as flavoring the yogurt, um, you can put some jam in there, or you can put just some fruit and maybe a little sweetener. Um, and if you like that, you can do savory things, and you can just do an extract. So if you're making vanilla yogurt, you use vanilla extract. But I'm making pear extract right now as your standard head at 80 cents a pound for the organic ones for the number 2 pears. And I've got 2 quarts of extract. Pear, one is spiced and one is not, that we use to make flavor like soda stream things, or to make a simple syrup, to make a snow cone or things. Or I'm going to start making more probiotic beverages other than the kombucha, which is my standard. And so, if you could put savory things in there, I haven't tried that yet. I do, but you can also take the yogurt and strain it more and make yogurt cheese. So if that's another thing you can do. So, uh, I just love the store-bought block of cream cheese, and I haven't found a good homemade recipe to match that yet. But I'm still trying. But it's not as rich as the cream cheese, but it's cheese, and you can put flavorings and stuff in it, and whatever. So, and it's got good benefits too. So anyway, those are some ideas with yogurt. I want to encourage you to start adding probiotic foods to your diet, because this is the way people ate until industrialized food. Everybody fermentation is a method of food preservation. I have fermented vegetables because I couldn't stand up to do a lot of canning and stuff this year. So when stuff came in the garden, if I didn't feel well, I can just throw it in a jar with some salt and set it there until it bubbles, and then I can put it in the fridge and it'll stay for months. So I don't have to, you know, the tend to the pressure canner and things like that. I still can, don't get me wrong, but I love canning. I love food preservation, but um, there's a whole world out here that's really kind of fascinating of how God created it. It's just really amazing when you kind of delve into it, and the kind of things it can do to help your body is pretty amazing. So um, anyway, so I would encourage you to start exploring that. And if you have questions, you know, give me a call or message me or whatever. Um, I'm I'm happy to help and share. So anyway, well, I think that's all for right now, and see you in another video soon. And I'll see you in the party group. All right, thanks. Bye.